If you read the premise of The Cabin in the Woods to me, I would absolutely say I have no interest in seeing that. It doesn't sound good, I'm not going to bother. However, I have watched it quite a while ago now, I think, for the first time, and I was so blown away by how they took what is an overdone concept and turned it into something incredible. There won't be any spoilers here, so you're free to listen if you have not seen the film. I definitely recommend that you see the film. IMDb is in front of me and it says it's rated R. I'm not sure if that's an 18 in the UK or a 15. But this film was released in 2011. I saw it a few years ago for the first time and just fell so in love. And I think the reason I wanted to give it a chance is because the poster art and, the promotional material just looks so gorgeous that I just thought, fine, I'll give it a go, let's see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Well, to me, nothing. To the characters, absolutely everything. So, the description from IMDb is as follows. 5 friends go for a break at a remote cabin where they get more than they bargained for, discovering the truth behind the cabin in the woods. Yawn, boring, sounds traditional. There are so many films about friends, young, attractive, just out of college or on a summer vacation friends, going to a remote location, and then, horrible things happening to them. But this one, while it starts out kind of feeling like the rest, once the horror elements kick in, it quickly becomes something else. The cabin is its own entity. The cabin is a character in this, and it is beautiful, and it is done so well. I'm not going to tell you how the horror threats come about. I will say there are jump scares, but it doesn't entirely rely on jump scares. It's got a lot more kind of intricate fear to it. There are a lot more clever, well thought out moments that I personally don't think you could predict. And then the ending, which I won't, don't worry, I'm not going to actually say what the ending was, but when I saw the ending, I was like, that is not what I expected from this film at all. It's directed by Drew Goddard and written by Joss Whedon, and it's just so well executed as a narrative. The way, as I said, it did start out a little traditional, but very quickly we realised that this is not your traditional remote location horror film. It takes on a completely different identity, and the cabin itself, as I said, really has its own person. It really is epitomizing the entire kind of fear of everything that's going on. And then the ending, as I was about to say, it blew me away. It really blew me away, and I wasn't expecting it. It is fantastic. I do not want to say any more than that. I do not want to spoil it. The characters themselves, I didn't really care too much for, but then I tend to find that is the case for me with horrors when you have a bunch of people in the same place and, they're all going to get either picked off one by one or, I can't say too much, but I tend to find that the characters I never really care too much for. I'm more about how much will this film scare me rather than will the characters I love make it out okay. Maybe that's selfish of me, but I'd rather they all suffered a bloody death and I got scared than they all made it okay. But they're all very well acted. I had no issues with the acting. The characters I thought were reasonably well developed. No issues there, just no standouts. The soundtrack, I can't really remember the soundtrack too much, but I remember we had some really good sound effects. I have no complaints with this film whatsoever, considering I thought I was going to really be bored by it and that I thought it would be really cliche. I hold my hand up and I say that I 100% could not have been more wrong. Cabin in the Woods is exemplary in its genre, but when it comes to its subgenre, I think it's in a league of its own. Very clever, very spooky, very well done.